media, including the Kane County Chronicle. Here with our St. Charles reporter, David Pettish, and candidates for St. Charles Ward 1, Ron Silkaitis and Robert Kasper. We're going to do a quick candidate form and ask them some questions. We'll start with Ron. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself and why you're running?
Okay, thank you. My name is Ronald Silkaitis, and I'm running for re-election as a first ward alderperson of St. Charles. I'm a third-generation lifelong resident of St. Charles. My wife Monica and I have been married for 43 years. We have 4 amazing daughters, and we have been blessed with one adorable granddaughter. I'm running for re-election to help St. Charles continue to be the welcoming, vibrant, services. Over the years, I've served my residents well. I've gotten good feedback from them and want to continue to serve and do my best to make the city a great place. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Robert, you want to go?
Sure. So I'm Robert Kasper. I am a resident here of St. Charles. I've been here now since 2018. My wife and I chose St. Charles as our home when we were first starting our my time as a physician out here at Delmore Hospital. We really, more than anything, fell in love with this community. When it came time for us to move into a larger house, we decided that it was a non-negotiable. We were staying in this town. We really just fell in love with St. Charles, the people, the shops, just the entire everything about it. For me, more than anything, I really believe that we're at the time now where we're looking to advance our city. There's a lot of critical decisions that are coming up, and I really just want to help focus us on moving into the future.
Great, thank you. And going forward, what we'll do is we'll alternate who responds first, just so that it's fair. So on this next question, Robert, you'll respond first. And you guys will both get the same questions. Robert, what would you need to accomplish in the next 4 years to consider your term a success?
For sure. So I think the first statement about that, or the first thing I would want to accomplish would be just maintaining the level of services that St. Charles is able to provide currently for its citizens. I think that if in this current climate, where we're looking at losing funding for various things based on federal grants and just the various challenges that are facing our city, for us to be able to maintain the services that we do provide would be kind of a major challenge, but I think that would also allow us to continue to be the community that we are. I don't want to put things on the chopping block just for the sake of doing that. If it's possible to continue what we're doing in terms of advancing like our bicycle and pedestrians plan, for example, just allowing for a healthier community. Those are the things I would really want to make sure that we're looking at and hopefully advancing forward.
Great, thank you. Ron, what do you need to accomplish in the next 4 years for your term to be a success?
Well, I look at right now, there's 4 issues that really need to be addressed. One of them is the Charlestown Mall, which I would like to see done in my next term. We have the Pheasant Run property, which looks better than it did before, but now that it's all cleaned up and everything, it's more marketable. And I'd like to see that at least start the process of being developed. And then, of course, we have the old police station site downtown St. Charles. That has been discussed a lot over the years about different developments or proposal for a hotel down there. I want to make sure that we do something that's responsible development down there, something that makes the city stand out, that will bring people downtown and to make them shop downtown, which goes back to our supporting our local businesses. And the other thing that's immediate right now is our IMEA electric contract, our supplier. The contract expires in 2035. IMEA wants us to sign a contract 10 years before, which would be the end of April. And I have issues with that, but I want to make sure whatever we do, that we make sure that we address our future energy needs. We also make sure that we have renewable energy sources as a priority when whoever we pick for our electric supplier.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. That's actually a perfect lead in to our next question, which is about IMEA. As you said, it's a hot button topic right now, and it's something that's going to have to be decided in the next term, whoever's sitting in the seat. In your opinion, what are the most important qualities that the city's energy provider should have? And do you think that reflects the interests of residents?
Well, I just want to make sure that we do have reliable power. I mean, that's what our citizens expect. But I also make sure that we do our best to use any type of renewable energy, battery storage, anything that we can use to make it renewable. And we are less reliant on coal. 80% of our energy from the plant down south in Illinois is coal, and I like to see that reduced as much as we can. And I think if we shop around, maybe do some research, we can find out how we can achieve a higher renewable energy goal, which is something that I would like to accomplish in the next term.
Thanks, Ron. Robert, same question.
Sure. With regard to our current energy situation, I completely agree with Ron that renewable energy has to be the primary focus here for both the impacts it has on our day-to-day life, as well as the life of people that are being affected by our power generation throughout throughout Illinois, and then even some of our power coming from Kentucky. Having the coal power plants there is offsetting the health risks to other people, and I just don't feel that is very acceptable, to be honest with you. When it comes to sources and a portfolio, I look at storage solutions are going to be critical, I think, just to allow for a more consistent, more sustained power source, especially during times of higher demand and higher load. So we're talking, those 95-degree summer days that, we definitely need to make sure that, we're not losing power on, these our homes here. So having some kind of battery solution, I think there are multiple areas here within St. Charles that would be ideal places to locate these. That would be minimal impact for residents, as well as still allowing for them to be easily accessible and scalable. When it comes to any kind of power sources, definitely I think we need to be looking into wind and solar as kind of our main drivers. Any kind of portfolio will have to have some degree of a more consistent source. That's where I think the storage solutions come in handy. But also, should we reach a point where we are topping and peaking, we need to have some small accessibility to another source, be it natural gas or something that we can turn on for like a peak demand.
Thank you, Robert. This next question will go to you. I think Kevin's got a real tough one for you here.
Switching gears a little bit. What's your favorite restaurant in town, and what's your favorite thing to order?
Ooh, now that's a fun one. So actually, my favorite restaurant in town would be Giamia. I've been a big fan of Giamia for many years now. I'm grateful that we have the location here right off First Street. In terms of order though, I have to say that I love their pizza. It's the Hammaker's pie, which has just a bunch of different meats and cheese and stuff like that. It's just fantastic. Possibly one of my favorite items, not just in St. Charles, but in general. So,
Ron, same question. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to eat later.
Okay. Well, actually, our favorite place right now is the Office. I really enjoy their hamburgers and fries, their cheeseburger and fries. I really enjoy it. I think it's good. I think sometime you can sit outside, and if it's a little cooler, they do have you can sit outside and be warm out there. But yeah, the Office is what we go to the most.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to get there?
Oh, the hamburger and French fries, cheeseburger.
Good. And Ron, we'll go into something a little bit more meaty. What role do you think the dam's going to play in the future of St. Charles?
Yeah, the dam is an integral part of St. Charles. Being built 100 years ago, it has brought a lot of recreational activity to St. Charles, which is what makes St. Charles unique. Man, back to a swimming pool, Potawatomi, has been there for a long, long time. It's all integral because it's on the Fox River. You have the Fox River paddle boats there. You can go canoeing, rowboating. When I was a kid, I used to go canoeing and rowboating right down at the dock there by the pool. It's a very integral part of our town, and I hate to see that go away. But without all the information, which I don't have yet, I'm more inclined to say I would keep the dam right now until I get the rest of all the studies that the federal government is doing right now. Say that could be another year or so before we even see that study. Right now, I'm inclined to keep the dam.
Robert, same question.
So when it comes to the dam, I do echo that absolutely it does bring a lot of recreational opportunity to our community. It does provide us with a lot of just fringe benefits in terms of just the beauty of the golf course there and just that entire Riverside area just north of 64. My natural inclination, although, is actually to restore the natural flow. Now, that being said, I agree with Ron absolutely that we are still in the middle of gaining the information that we require. We can't make a decision on something such as this, especially something that's going to be as costly and as labor intensive and, important as this without really having all of the information in front of us. So with the age of the dam being what it is, we know that there are, with any dam, any low head dam like this, there's buildup of silt deposits, there's buildup of things that could potentially weaken it, that can cause issues downstream just where it currently is. There's evidence of some existing just wear and tear on this dam, which, going forward, if we are going to potentially be keeping it, we have to be considering that aspect of it, the repair cost that might potentially be there. Would it be beneficial to remove completely versus replace it versus just, patchwork repairs? There's, a number of different aspects to this. Would there be a way to maintain a dam in such a way that, should we opt to replace it, could we replace it with a dam that has kind of smaller flow. So it's not just a single one drop, it's multiple smaller drops, which actually has been shown in many studies to be more beneficial in terms of just the restoration and the maintenance of flow, while also minimizing downstream effects as well as silt buildup.
Thank you.
So you guys are running for Ward 1 seat, which is the east side of town, south of Route 64. Which area of your ward do you think will see the most change in the next 10 years? And then what will that change look like? We're going to start with you, Robert.
Okay, that's right. Sorry. So I think there's actually two areas that I would like to point out. I think the first one is going to be just our corridor right along Main Street. I believe, especially right here, kind of on the side that's west of Kirk, there's a number of areas, number of smaller businesses that, we could definitely continue to develop and enhance. That would be probably the first area that I would think. And then the second area, just in general, would also be kind of the area north of between 64 and Madison. Within our ward, I think that it is our older neighborhood comparatively. There's a number of areas that I think there can be infrastructure improvements, and we're looking at where are we in terms of, for example, lead line replacement and just quality of life things. So maybe not things that are as openly accessible to people who are coming into town here, but things that are just really going to be important for our citizens as we move forward into the future.
Thank you. Ron, same question?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. In Ward 1, where do you expect to see the most change in the next 10 years, and what will that change look like?
Well, for me, I think the most changes we're going to see is in the East Gateway, because we have, like we said, we have the Charlestown Mall there, and we also have the Pheasant Run there. Those are gateways to our community. So I would expect to see, hoping that we're going to see actually when it comes to the city, it looks really good. So those are the things that I believe are going to change the most in 10 years. And now there are some infills on 64 on the south side of the first ward there. I believe most of the change is going to be with those big properties out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you think your ward is a good location for adding affordable housing? And if so, where do you see that fitting in? Ron, you can go first.
Thank you. Well, I'll say affordable housing, I've been an advocate for that ever since we formed the Housing Commission to look into this. I always believe that instead of what we've done in the past, we have, when a developer wants to develop, they have to either supply units or they can pay into our housing fund. We've taken a lot of money, but we haven't produced a lot of units. So I've been a proponent of always with new development that they actually put up units versus a cash donation. Now, where would they go? Well, it's just a possibility. We got the Charlestown Mall there. That could be a mix of affordable housing with regular housing. I think that'd be a good place. That you could put in town in the first ward, but it's not that many of them left. So I would say Charlestown Mall would be the best place for affordable housing.
Robert, same question?
I believe Ron is absolutely correct. In terms of area for large scale projects, we are quite limited. Having the site over along Couts, just in general, there's a number of areas that could potentially be developed, but there are existing homes in that area. So I wouldn't be, looking to, take over those by any means, but should any of that property become available, that might be potential. But again, with the airport being there, that does give us multiple limitations in terms of height and everything else. Within Ward 1, there's, again, just very limited space. I do agree that there's a possibility with the Charlestown Mall property, obviously not being within our ward, but that I think that that area does give us the most flexibility, I believe, to include some accessible housing for people, because I think that is very, very important as we move forward as a community to ensure that we're a community that's welcoming for all.
Thank you.
This next one's going to start with you, Robert. Do you feel the city has been financially responsible over the past 4 years, and how could it have been improved upon?
I do believe that. Having a chance to kind of review some of the finances more recently, we've had a lot of opportunities, with, for example, we had a very large debt burden coming into the last 4 years. Some of that was definitely worsened by the pandemic. Just trying to be able to manage that. It's very evident that we've had the success in paying off a lot of that debt. There's still a sizable amount to go, and we still have multiple areas that we need to make sure we're funding. So public pensions are going to be a major one with our police and fire, for example, making sure that we are funding those things. But I do believe that the current administration, the current planning and financial strength of our city has been in maintaining services while still paying down that existing debt burden. Moving forward, I think it's important for us to really take into strong consideration any additional debt that we are taking on, and how can we minimize that or avoid it altogether.
Ron?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you feel the city has been fiscally responsible over the past 4 years, and how could that be improved?
In general, yes. I think we do very well with our finance. We have an AA1 credit rating from Moody's, so they understand that we are financially sound. Are there improvements that can be made? Definitely. I think we need to go deeper into the budget to see exactly what we really do and don't need.
So we got another hard-hitting question here. I know whenever I come to visit St. Charles, it takes me quite a bit of time to find a parking spot. And so I want to know, what's your secret parking spot when you're in downtown?
So yeah, parking. Okay. Parking is an issue in St. Charles on the weekends, mostly during the summer, and when we have special events. That is an issue. We had a parking study done. They say that during that we don't really have, it's sometimes hard to find a spot. And they say we're trying to make improvements. We're working on putting a counter on the parking deck so we can see what spaces are or are not available. And it's going to bring more people in. We need to have places for them to park. Thank you.
Robert, same question. Where's your secret parking spot?
So in general, my most reliable one, especially if it's early, is over on the east side. We have the parking deck there. It's off of Walnut. So generally speaking, I find some spots right there on the middle level, not so much the top or the bottom. But that being said, not always a guarantee by any means. I think that investment in some advances within our parking technology, so to speak. So not only do we have the counters in place, maybe have a, as you're entering into the downtown area, having some signs that show like which structures and how to get to them have spaces available. I think that's important. The amount of parking based on the feasibility study does show that, yes, for what we have, we are able to handle. Obviously, we're going to have certain times where we're going to have, if we have festivals, parades, major events that, that's going to be stressed. I think that along those lines, then, we need to make sure that it's easier for folks who, are nearby to potentially be able to utilize other modes to be in the city and in the town, in the downtown district, without having to necessarily drive. So for parades, people might be able to, safely bike in or walk in, with their families and enjoy the day while also, getting the additional health benefits. Realistically, I think that finding parking sometimes is frustrating, but it's not impossible. But I think that, I would love to find ways to not just improve the accessibility of the parking and ensuring people are able to find the spots that are around, but also find ways to minimize how many people feel the need to actually have to drive and park in the first place.
Thank you.
This is our final question here. It's going to go to you first, Robert. What grade would you give the current council's management of the city and why?
I would give it a B+. Overall, I believe that the current council has done a very good job. As I alluded to before, the fiscal management, I think, has been very responsive to the current needs and demands of our environment. I do want to emphasize, I think that there are some opportunities that do exist that, while they've been looking at them, kind of have not really come to fruition. I think that the fact that we're having this ongoing conversation about IMEA at this point in time, it's very clear from all of my interactions with pretty much every candidate that we do not want to be renewing this contract early on. I don't know why we're still prolonging this conversation. I think that that's something that could have been handled earlier without having this ongoing conversation. That being said, on the flip side of that, I think the ongoing conversation regarding the dam and the benefits thereof, that is an important conversation. I'm happy that they have the task force reviewing all of this, because it is good to have key stakeholders involved. In terms of transparency, I think that this city council has done a very good job of being transparent with where it stands. The updated website, while it still needs some improvements on it, I think it's a lot easier to navigate overall. I think the search function needs to maybe be a little bit more robust, but I'm able to find a lot more of the information that is pertinent when I'm going through that when I'm looking for any kind of services. So with regard to the overall interaction, I think that there are opportunities for our city council to be better in touch and better in contact with us as citizens. I think that that's an area of improvement that can definitely be looked at. How do we engage the members of our ward, and knowing who and what, and what are the events that are happening, what are the key issues that are coming up, and then also what are the things that our constituents are looking at, what are the issues that are facing them, and so making it available for things like town halls or other just interactions more frequently, I think, is going to be important moving forward.
Thank you. Ron, same question.
Believe that, working together, we do have our differences. Sometimes they get a little emotional. But I know there's room for improvement on the council. All in all, differently is how we do the budget process. I think it's important that, we get resident engagement. Voter turnout in St. Charles is on the low side, and I'd like to see that improved. Now, I'm hoping, we can get, if you get good candidates out there, maybe it'll motivate people to vote. I'm hoping that this election, we get a lot of people voting, whoever they vote for. I just want them to go vote. But yeah, and all in all, I'd give our a score of a C+.
Okay.
That work
Thank you.
better?
That did. Yeah. All right. That was the end of our questions. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming out and meeting with us and having this conversation with us.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robert. Good luck and everything.
You as well. You as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Be a good race.
Mhm.
Cheers.
Take care.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.